You know, I miss when movies let you figure things out on your own. Now they treat you like you just woke up from a coma and they're trying to catch you up on your own life right before they quiz you on it. This is your wife. You loved her. Yes, loved. Because she's dead and you're sad now. It feels like movies are now written for that one friend who's on their phone the entire time who keeps asking, who's that? Why are they mad? Is this important? We've been watching this movie for an hour and a half. Everything's important. Somewhere along the way, filmmakers seem to have decided that subtlety was dangerous, and now every movie feels like it's being narrated by a very nervous tour guide who's terrified they don't have enough time to tell you everything, but somehow still brings you to their favorite taco place. No, Bill, I didn't know the owner was your cousin. This wasn't on the tour. Why are we here? Bill's the tour guide, by the way. See how you got that before I even said it? That's what movies do now. They explain everything, and they're so afraid of confusing anyone that they end up explaining the soul right out of a story. Now look, exposition in itself isn't bad. Sometimes it's necessary. If a movie starts with a character moving between two worlds, and only some rules apply in both, like people can fly or duplicate themselves endlessly and it's not magic, yeah, I'm gonna need some help. But exposition works best as an introduction, not a lecture.
I'm sorry, I know you mean well. You just didn't think it through. You want to protect the world, but you don't want it to change. How is humanity saved if it's not allowed to evolve?
And right now, movies treat exposition like that kid who puts ketchup on everything. Pizza, steak, ice cream.
Ketchup.
It's not who I am.
But maybe we're the weird ones. Maybe it's better to just know what everything tastes like. Ketchup, and that's modern exposition. Instead of a character looking desperate and depressed, we just get another character go, I get that you're stressed. Your sister was kidnapped, and both your parents were hospitalized. And you started going through puberty. Well, thanks. I was always gonna need help deciphering what this face meant. A lot of movies and TV shows don't trust the audience to keep their attention on the movie the entire time anymore. There's an assumption that everyone is only half watching. But that doesn't mean the movie should act like it forgot what medium it's in. The whole point of film is the visual aspect, the faces, the silence, the subtext. Instead, we get characters explaining the obvious motivation behind their expressions. And I get what studios think they're doing. They think that they're making things more accessible. But it feels less like they're creating an experience and more like a bunch of information was thrown together and read aloud. There's nothing left to interpret, nothing to discover. This is why plot twists don't land anymore. They're not twists, they're reminders. If you want to see a textbook case of exposition actually murdering a movie, or in this case, a massive TV finale, we have to talk about Stranger Things 5. This was the season we waited nearly 4 years for. And yet, the Mr. What's-It reveal, great nickname by the way, was handled like the audience had never seen a plot twist before. We already knew it was Vecna, but the show insisted on treating it like a eureka moment that lasted 3 episodes long. Volume 2 was essentially a 4-hour back-to-back heart-to-heart, interrupted by the occasional monster that was dangerous most of the time. There's a scene where Hopper literally draws a diagram of a helicopter and a ward just to explain that a helicopter flies up and then flies down. Thanks, Jim. I was worried it might have to tunnel into the earth like a giant mechanical mole. The Duffer Brothers had a $450 million budget, and they used a good chunk of it to have characters stand in a circle and finish each other's sentences. When you spend more time explaining the mechanics of your exotic matter than actually showing the stakes, you aren't telling a story anymore. You're reading the manual for a fictional world that's supposed to be about feelings. The finale was over 2 hours long, and at least 40 minutes of that was just characters narrating their own futures. It's the ultimate exposition killer, and sometimes the fix is incredibly simple. Let the scene breathe. No dialogue, no voiceover, just let us sit with the character. Because otherwise, you might end up with dialogue that doesn't even sound human. They try to make it sound deep or insightful, but it just comes off as informational. Like the character is less of a person and more of a walking plot summary.
Another world that I've coined the Abyss.
Any particular reason?
A realm of pure chaos and evil.
I'm sorry?
D&D.
Jesus Christ.
Who talks like this? This is what happens when movies start hand-holding instead of guiding. They don't challenge curiosity. They don't trust silence. They just throw spectacle at you. Sweeping landscapes, big musical moments, huge action sequences, all stitched together with explanations. And when everything is explained, emotion doesn't land either. Because if a movie keeps telling you how to feel, you don't feel anything. The stories stop feeling like experiences and start feeling like instructions. And what's really unfortunate is that movies aren't competing with other movies anymore. They're competing with phones. There's an assumption that everyone is only half watching, and to be fair, some of you are on your phones. I see you, Ryan. So everything has to be loud, clear, and repeated, just in case there's a new pitch meeting episode. But even if you're scrolling through TikTok and you've gone past a couple of those, hey, you should really take a break ads, no one could really miss how unnatural the dialogue sounds. You don't tune it out, you just cringe through it. And the thing is, there are movies and shows that still understand how to do exposition. You just barely notice it when it's done well. Take Better Call Saul. That show explains everything you need to know, but almost none of it is said out loud.
The back seat, ate the stuffing.
You learn who people are by things like how long they hesitate before answering a question. Entire character arcs are explained through glances and reactions and the way someone goes through a door. And you never really feel confused, you know? They trust you to interpret things like that, and the story feels more human because of that. Another good one is Dune, which somehow managed to explain politics, the effects of prophecy, and space economics, mostly by letting people shut up and stare at sand for a while. You're not spoon-fed information. You're dropped into the world and expected to keep up. And you know what? People did. Because good exposition doesn't announce itself, it blends in. It's hidden inside all the conflict. You don't always notice it happening, you just kind of feel smarter afterwards. So when exposition kills a movie, it's not because audiences are stupid, or even because the exposition isn't necessary. The problem is how it's used. There's no creative application, so the exposition stands out, when it really shouldn't. But look, I'm just a guy on the internet talking into a microphone. I'm not gonna sit here and explain why you should subscribe. If I told you that clicking the bell icon increases the probability of my videos appearing in your feed, thereby supporting the growth of independent commentary, I'd be doing exactly what I just spent the whole video talking about. I'm just gonna trust you. I'm gonna use subtext.
Okay, hold on, keep watching. Who's that beside her? Who is it?
Wow, you're one hot dancer, Benjamin.
See, you knew exactly what that meant. You're the 1% of the audience that doesn't need some tour guide named Bill to tell you where the subscribe button is. If you want to support a channel that trusts you to have a brain, you already figured it out. Or not. So maybe I'll see you next time.